Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 86 of the Still City Insider podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremy Hritz, alongside the Jim Wexell. Jim, how are you this fantastic final Tuesday of November?
You know, it's pretty ironic that it's the Hines Ward episode, and today he was named one of the semifinalists. So that's kind of cool. Good luck to Hines. And we all want to see him get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think we were intentional with that.
I'm sorry?
We were intentional with episode 86 and Hines.
Were we?
Yeah, remember?
You never told me about it.
Well, it's an important day. As always, we come together on Tomlin Tuesdays. We had the Tomlin press conference following the big win here. I know there weren't a lot of points, but Steelers fans have something to be optimistic about in the post-Matt Canada offense. We're going to get into all that. But, Jim, let's start with the Tomlin presser. And on the injury front, Minkah Fitzpatrick, the light's on for him.
The light's on, but it's not like he's leaving the lights on, which usually means doubtful. The light is on, and he's cautiously optimistic. So that's exciting news.
Yes. And that's on the positive front. On the negative front, in this past Sunday's game, everybody saw Diontae Johnson following Jaylen Warren's fumble. He was right there. Didn't move off the line of scrimmage, was just kind of a passive observer. It drew the ire of Steelers fans. Tomlin did address that today.
Yes. And actually, I don't know how negative that was. It was positive that he addressed it the way he did. I like that. And it was positive that he's gonna have Diontae Johnson talk to the team, speak to the team, let him answer to the team and to the media. So he recognizes that Diontae lacked effort on that play, was thinking about the play before when he should have had the touchdown. I don't know that it was so much his fault. I know it was, people call it a drop, but it was hatcheted out of his arms after he took 3 steps. It should have been a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And again, Tomlin explained, his excuse after the game was that it's a road stadium and you don't get the quickest replays. This time it was a scoring play, and he trusts the officials on a scoring play that they would have no hesitation because, let's see, how do you put this? Because it could easily be ruled a score, and then you let the free replay take over. So when it's not ruled a score, he figures that they're absolutely sure about it. Man, I don't know. I've seen him throw that flag in the first half over some just guesses. So anyway, that was the play before. And then the next play, Jaylen Warren fumbled, and it looked like Diontae looked down at the fumble and just kept walking. And then he didn't chase the guy that picked it up and ran. Yeah. So that's good news that Mike Tomlin addressed it.
Yeah. Now, do you think that this is something that the team should be concerned about, that potentially Diontae becomes a distraction or a nuisance in the locker room, or do you feel like this is just a one-off emotional response to, not getting the touchdown call?
It's not going to help him long-term here, but short-term, I don't see that. I don't see that.
Okay. And
he's had his outbursts. He's had his moments. I think he'll be a good guy the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And who asked that question about?
I'll tell you, I'm not sure. It was a woman's voice, and I recognized 3 of the women who usually ask questions. And this was, I think I know who it was. It's quiet lady. And I heard Missy Matthews say that it wasn't addressed directly, and it was. The girl asked, what about Jaylen's fumble, and what about the way Diontae Johnson reacted to it? Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And Tomlin had a full answer, and it was like late in the press conference. Nobody else had asked about it. Mm-hmm. It was kind of surprising. I thought that would be one of the top topics.
Yeah.
I think Tomlin thought it would be a top topic too, and that's why he had his answer already.
Yeah. Interesting, answer and response there. And hopefully this doesn't become a distraction. It probably won't. Johnson's not putting up the season that he'd like. So I'm sure there's some frustration, especially following what should have been a touchdown.
Well, but he has one more touchdown than he scored last year. So what kind of season did he have?
One more. Yes. Yeah, I guess we've got to be grateful for any type of points that the Steelers team can get. But let's dig into the game, Jim. Finally, we see life in the Steelers offense. And while it didn't come in the form of points, it did come in the form of yardage. Was it 421 yards of offense? Things look different. They look crisp. They look clean, starting with that first play to Pittsburgh Pat. I'm not saying his last name because I'll butcher it. But so much to talk about and unpack, but let's start with that Pittsburgh offense.
Well, throwing to Freiermuth. Now, let's not get too excited about throwing to the tight end. These were career highs for Pat. 9 for, 124, something, just lovely. Both were career highs for him, yardage and catches. But Cincinnati went into the game as one of the poorest teams covering tight ends in the NFL. And they showed the looks. They showed the two deeps, the cover two, which you need your middle linebacker to drop on the tight end. So that's how they ate that up. And then when they went single high, they went deep outside. So you saw Pat Freiermuth stand out over the middle. Kenny Pickett can throw over the middle without being intercepted. And he can throw deep against single high. They went deep twice to each side, and each were completed. And by the way, I will say this. This was tweeted by Ramon Foster. Minka was on the sideline hulking up for Deontay when he caught the pass. So he was cheering for the boy, So I don't know about dissension. These things come and go, and we as fans make bigger deals out of them. Not jumping on a fumble or chasing the guy, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to put kindly to that. And I'm sure DJ looked at that and, I can't do that again.
Yeah. So,
So anyway, and there was more play action, especially in the first two series. They had through 10 play action passes.
Yeah. And Freiermuth's stat line, to be precise, 9 receptions, 120 yards, that long of 29 yards. And then those 2 deep passes that you talked about, Pickens for 43 yards, Johnson for 39. But you're right, not only attacking the middle of the field, but the perimeter, the edges. So we definitely saw a sparkle in the passing game, which gives some hope moving forward. And on the ground, it continued to look solid. It wasn't through Jalen Warren, but Najee Harris had a decent performance.
He had he ran hard. He had a good job. I mean, when that pile moved, what was that, a 29-yard run, 21-yard run?
Yeah.
And the pile was just moving, and then he emerged from it. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
Yes.
So the running game, I mean, also look at the point of attack. The offensive line was getting penetration into the defensive side. And Cincinnati again, their defense. We talked about it last week. They were poorly ranked in everything that I look at, and they did look bad.
Yeah.
Did you ask me something else? Okay.
No, I was just going to say that's 4 consecutive games now with over 150 yards rushing. This ground game does seem to be revitalized. But the bigger question that still remains, this was a weaker defense from Cincinnati, only 16 points. So we did see improvement, but what is that next step that this unit has to take to begin getting at least in the 20s on the scoreboard?
Well, quarterback play. And Kenny showed some sparks. He really revived himself this past week in a lot of people's eyes, I believe. I mean, I don't think they're going to look for another quarterback in the offseason. And I don't think that was really a possibility before last week. But now there's sparks that he can do this. He could get better this season. They could even make a playoff run, especially with the way the schedule lines up. So in that regard, but Kenny has to finish these drives.
Yeah.
As far as X's and O's, I have no idea, Jeremy. We'll get someone smart on next week.
Yeah. Flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, the team faced a inexperienced quarterback, Jake Browning, 19 of 26, 227 yards. The Steelers did a great job keeping him in check, and the Bengals only ran for 25 yards. That's music to my ears. The running defense looks solid, but your take on this defense and their performance in Cincinnati?
Well, Minka's replacement, Trenton Thompson, had a pick. And, we saw him in preseason. I don't think anyone's surprised when 17 makes a play. I mean, we all know him as the tall 17 safety. And so, and he's a really nice young guy. So you're happy for him. And the middle linebackers, Elandon Roberts, man, he is really, really good still. Michael Walker played better, I thought, this game. Tomlin wasn't effusive in his praise. And so that makes me wonder if Blake Martinez has a chance for that job. But probably not this week. But I think they're going to gauge how Michael continues. I mean, his coverage was good. He's athletic, probably more athletic than Blake Martinez, and they already have a run stuffer in Elandon Roberts. And the defensive front with Keanu Benton now, what did Mixon have, like 6 carries for 8 yards or 8 carries for 6 yards, something really bad.
Yeah, 8 carries for 16 yards along of 4.
16. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he did have the long screen. We'll give him credit for that. That was 29 yards or something.
39. Yeah.
39. Yeah. So he did make one play late.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what else is there to say about the defense? Joey Porter Jr. I mean, they found a corner, didn't they?
They sure held.
You can't always say that.
They did, and in the second round.
Yeah, 32nd pick. Well, they look like they found a piece with Trenton Thompson, at least a reserve safety going forward. Yeah. And when Minka comes back, Casey's been playing great ball, so Casey and Minka will remain. But Trenton Thompson has proven himself. And then you have on the other side, Patrick Peterson. I haven't been as down on him as everyone else has, but he's playing some good ball right now. And that's the piece that'll be added next year. Corner, center, and I don't think it'll be quarterback, maybe wide receiver. Maybe there's your long term for Deontay Johnson.
There we go. And Thompson did chip in 5 tackles to go along with his interception, so it's good to see him be a bit versatile. And Walker had that nice tip pass. I don't know if you remember it.
The one that led to about a 40-yard gain, right?
No, this was a different one over the middle of the field where he swatted it, and had he not, it would have gone for completion. I'm not sure if he tipped the one that was deflected to Chase. Man, that was brutal.
There were 2 deflected to him. So I can't remember who tipped it, but
yeah. That's what I was watching the game at that point, saying, all right, just our luck, some nonsense like this.
Right.
But it all ended up working out. Wanted to give some kudos to Nick Herbig as well, who recorded another sack. We saw some pressure coming in on Browning, not just from Herbig, but TJ's getting involved. Hayward. What about the pass rush?
I don't know that we have to say more about the pass rush. Even Cam Hayward got a sack. I want to see Herbig inside linebacker. I would like to see him on the field more. I mean, that play he made, that was almost like he came from inside linebacker coverage depth. He came a long way, and he came suddenly. You saw him coming. It was a long way, but he got there quickly. He ate up ground. The kid, he's just a natural baller, isn't he? I mean, his time's like 4.65. That's pretty good. If you remember Chad Brown, the guy I compare him to, position-wise and body-wise, Chad Brown ran a 4.85 at his combine. So this guy's a lot quicker than Chad Brown. And we remember how quick Chad Brown was. So, I don't want to say his time speed wasn't that good, but maybe talking to him, he doesn't look that fast. But I think he needs to be on the field more. And I see inside linebacker as the way to do that. But, I mean, they keep stacking veteran run pluggers in there, Miles Jack, Blake Martinez. So.
Yeah, he
probably not this year.
He definitely looks bursty, and his C to do is something special, and it's great to see him contribute, as the season goes on.
C to do, I like that.
C to do.
That's a Tomlinism.
It's a Tomlin Tuesday, so I got to throw it in there. Which brings us to the next opponent, Jim. We've got the James Conner Cardinals coming to town. And not really a great team that the Steelers are going to be going up against. 2-8, 2 wins. Not a great run defense. There should be some opportunities for the Steelers' ground attack. what are your thoughts on this Sunday's contest? Coming back home to Pittsburgh, Acrisure Stadium, I almost said Heinz Field, caught myself. How do you see this weekend playing out?
Well, I mean, they're favored by 5.5 points, and they can barely score 5.5 points. So that'll tell you what Vegas thinks. But if you look at the intangibles here, he's coming off 2 road division games, right? So naturally, I had to go through the Tomlin files to see how they fare after 2 division road games, especially with a pumpkin coming up. I mean, I didn't look at the point spreads of these games, but after 2 division games, when they don't play a 3rd division game, they're 3-7, and they're 2-4 at home, and they're 1-2 versus NFC, and it's 0-2 when those division games are on the road, like they were, Cleveland, Cincinnati. So historically, this has been a flat spot, and with the Cardinals being 2-10. And coming off a bad loss, while they were playing pretty decently leading up to that, because Kyler Murray came back 3 games ago. They were in 2 games. They were 1-1. And last week, the Rams flattened them after halftime. Cardinals had a halftime lead. Then after it was 37-14 was the final. So that was their only poor performance. And Kyler Murray, who was out with a knee injury, did not leave the game. So he must be healthy enough. He's not really running all that much. 14 for 86 rushing. He's been sacked 9 times. And, that's when Pittsburgh played him 1 time. They sacked him 5 times. And Pittsburgh beat him when the Cardinals were a better team, 23-17. James Conner is still playing very well.
Yeah.
And I think he's over 4 yards a carry. I think he's 4.1. I could even be a little underestimating that. The rest about the Cardinals, their run defense is soft, 4.6 per carry in the last 5 games. Their pass defense is better than what we saw last week against the Bengals, much better. But they're not efficient. The yards per point, the Steelers are way out in front of that, and they're way out in front of the line of scrimmage. Last 5 games, the Steelers are averaging 5.4 for carry.
Wow.
Yeah, and allowing 3.8. Those are really, really good numbers. And their pass defense is even coming around. So things are looking up. The quality of competition wasn't bad. They've played 527 competition the last 5 weeks. Cardinals 571. The Cardinals have played a little harder schedule. So their numbers could be altered a little bit, but still poor against the run. And that should set the Steelers up, right?
Yeah, it should be straightforward in terms of what the game plan is. It should be to pound the football. Connor coming back, that's going to be the primary storyline, and you would have to think that he's a decent back. He's been a touchdown machine the last couple of years. That's going to be their game plan. They're going to try to make it run through Connor, so it'll be a nice little showdown. But then Jim, after that, if we start zooming out a bit here, we're getting close to the end of the season, and the schedule doesn't. I just real quickly. Hold on.
We're not allowed to zoom out. What Coach Tomlin said about
that. I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush here, but we've got the Patriots on Thursday night, another 2-win team. Then the Colts. That's away December 17th. Before you finish up with the Bengals, then they travel to Seattle and they finish up with the Ravens. But with all that said, the injuries in the AFC North for the Bengals and the Browns, this could be a 2-team showdown at the end of the year if the Steelers continue to improve and get better on offense between Steelers and Ravens for the AFC North crown.
Did I read those numbers to you about games after 2 division games? 3-7.
Hey,
I mean,
I'm feeling
against
hopeful,
the
Jim.
2-10 Cardinals, who really aren't beat up. They're actually getting healthy. So let's just work on one game at a time, Jeremy. But yeah, and then the next week, you keep saying Belichick can't have that bad of a team, can he? and then 10 days before the Colts are playing pretty good ball. And at Indy, I would think Indy's going to be favored in that game. But Steelers will have 10 days rest. So they'll have that going for them.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati, man, I mean, they'll come here with some revenge in mind. But if the Steelers are competing, they shouldn't lose to Jake Browning at home. And then you said Seattle. Seattle's kind of falling apart, but Steelers have really bad luck in Seattle. That's a long trip. Never fare well there. And then Baltimore. Yeah, they could be looking ahead to the Ravens when they go to Seattle, you know. So, I think there's a couple losses in there.
Yeah. But the good thing is we have some hope, some optimism, some excitement about what's possible here for this team with their, I know it's only one game, but their newfound offense, and we'll see if they can continue that this weekend against the Cardinals. But a lot of things to be excited about as this team moves forward. So,
you know what I'm excited about? My new hat.
I like it. It looks like Seattle colors. Speaking of the Seahawks.
Well, this is my daughter's new team. You know, I always wear her team hats, and she has graduated into life. She works for Caterpillar. So
right. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. That's a nice looking hat.
I'll tell her you said that.
Okay. Anything you want to promote for the site or anything coming up?
Well, today's the last day of our biggest sale of the year, 75% off annual membership. So if you get to watch this today, if we can get it out, crank it out, go ahead and buy, and then the books, Pull 'em All book is for $15 at my site. Go to jimwexell.com and get some good Christmas presents. I'll autograph it, or send me a note and I'll inscribe it for you personally or for whomever you're giving it to as a gift.
Awesome. And you can check out all the links for that in the show notes. And if you're watching this, I promise I won't upload last week's episode like I did last week. So apologies for that. But you guys are quick to point it out. So we appreciate that. We do read your feedback. We do take that into consideration. So we appreciate you sharing that with us. But that's going to do it for the Hines Ward episode here, number 86. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your family and friends. You can check out Jim's work at the Still City Insider. Give him a follow on X at Jim Wexell. You can give me a follow at Still Study. And we will see you back here for the Mark Bruner episode, hopefully following a Cardinals win. Have a great day, Jim. Have a great week. Take care.
You too, Jeremy. Take care.